So the colonizers is China. You will just not believe me and you will send me to mental asylum. Am I right? Okay. Take a world map in front of you and just see China. If I tell you that China is much more bigger than that is on world map, will you believe me? You will send me to, I think you will just hang me. So why am I talking like this? You will come to know. These are the real life examples which we are neglecting, and if we neglected it for a long time, China will be the not second, the first superpower after US. So let's get started. So China, Chinese colonization is not different, but they have used their power of money. So, what are the examples? Sri Lanka Hanmantota port. I'll tell you a short story. Imagine there is a president of Sri Lanka who wants to build a simple port for his economic benefits. He went to China and grants a loan over there. He gets all his loan back, but Chinese here frames simple policies such as if this port is built, it would be built by Chinese companies. Just try to understand the game over here. That if Chinese companies will build this port, where the money will go? Again to China. But interests are also rising and many other factors. Obviously and unfortunately, Sri Lanka couldn't pay back its loan. And as a result, they need to give Hanmantota port for 99 years of lease. So this is the one thing. The another greatest thing which all of us, including me, are neglecting is the colonization of African continent by China. So they are not using their military over there, but again, paisa, power, and money. They are using their financial power. So how? Let me explain it to you in a story format. So, Africa is a poor continent and it needs money for their economic growth. So, they just said China, please give us money. And China said, okay, but with colonization. Again, same policies were framed, such as the work would be done by a Chinese company and game was on. Again, the money was shifted back to China and African continent was dominated by Chinese companies. So, the famous example is the African Union's headquarters, which worth 200 million, was gifted from China to African continent, to African Union. But what do you think? Is this gift even worth it? Will China give 200 millions of headquarters of African continent to Africa as a gift, a simple gift? Of course not, if you are a wise person. So, the story is a late night simple engineer like any other man. He was a computer engineer. And what he saw that in server room of African continent headquarters, there was a mysterious thing happening, a very mysterious thing. At nights, the computers were sending data to someone different other than the African chairman. The data was sent to China. The very dreadful thing happened in the history of Africa, that their data was stolen. So when researchers came and just saw the whole and searched for the whole African headquarters, they found secret cameras, they found secret mics and many other things. But the African countries couldn't just speak because, first thing, it was a gift. Second thing, they have the loan. This is the power of the loan. This is the burden of the loan. Please understand. Countries could freak out at Chinese, but they need to shut their mouth up because of a simple, huge lump sum of loan on their heads. So, how could China manipulate this? I told you that China could be the next superpower. So how? If let's take the example of United Nations. Every country in the world has one vote in United Nations. And if I tell you that China has the more dominance in Africa, in Sri Lanka, in many other countries, during the United Nations voting, what do you think? Will Africa vote against China? Of course not. Will Sri Lanka vote against China? Of course not, because you have taken their loan and you couldn't just vote against them. So, this African continent is comprised of many countries which uh, took loan from China and are under their burden. During United Nations conference, they will vote in favor of China. So, the other thing is, China is quite a developed nation now, on paper itself, sorry, and the labor is not so cheap over there. At olden times, they were cheap, the labor was cheap, so more and more investors and companies attracted over there. But now, no more it's cheap. Because of this, the main companies such as Apple, Google are shifting to India and Vietnam because of their low labor cost. But Chinese played a simple game, a mind hacking game. They said, what if our labor is expensive? You put your headquarters in Africa, in Sri Lanka, in our captured land, in our leased land, which was given to China because the countries just couldn't pay the loan off. 15,000 acres of Sri Lankan land is on lease to China for 99 years. This is the horrific truth of today's colonization. The game China is playing over here is they will set the companies on their land once again, but in different countries such as Sri Lanka and Africa, because labor over there is cheap and China will again gain profits from it. So this is a dreadful thing, and I just hope that many of us are will awake after listening this podcast, and I hope we'll someday act on it. So if you like my podcast, if you are liking my lessons, please subscribe to my podcast, Motivational Guruji.